And now we want to work on the sign-in screen. So this is how the sign-in screen looks. It has this logo at the top here. We have this text sign into account. We have these text fields here to enter email and password, a sign-in button, and we also have these 2 elevated buttons here to click on one to register as a user and one to register as a doctor. So in the sign-in screen, so first of all, because it is going to have some state changes, we are going to change this to a consumer stateful widget. I'm going to create an email controller, and I'm also going to have a password controller. And also I'm going to dispose them like that. And now we can work on the build method. So here it says signing is not a subset of consumer widget. So what I need to do here, let me just restart the application again because we made these changes. So let me just restart it because hot reloading it will not work because we changed the entire class here. So as you can see, we have that. Let us add a sized box to give some space. And then we are going to create now the text fields. So for that, since there are several text fields and we are going to have multiple text fields, I'm going to go to widgets here and I'm going to create a new widget here, which I'm going to call common text field. And the common text field is going to be a stateless widget. And let me just create it quickly. So like that. So it's going to have a hint text, input type, obscure text, a boolean obscure text, and a text editing controller. And here, so it's a text form field. And we are going to have the keyboard type, the controller, and we give it an input decoration. And inside of the decoration, we give it a border, an outline input border, when it is enabled and when it is focused. And we also give it a content padding of edges or symmetric of 10. Okay. Again, I did this in blood donation, so I don't have to like repeat every single thing here. But basically, this is what it is. So I'm just gonna save that. So after this sized box here, I'm gonna have the common text field, and the first one is going to have a hint text of enter email with a text input type of email. Okay, and I'm going to change this to email controller like that. Then after that, I'm going to add yet another sized box, and now we are gonna create another common text field. This one is going to be for password. Okay, so here for the password, I'm going to change this to text instead of the one that have been suggested. So now after that, I'm going to add yet another sized box to have some space of 20. And now here, I'm going to create a button. So this button, we are going to use it in other places. So I'm just going to create it in the common widgets here. I'm actually going to create yet another folder here, in the lib folder. And I'm going to name that folder common widgets. And I'm going to create my common button here. Like that. So this, I have created my common button, and it's going to take an on tap, a title, and it's loading. Okay. So inside the build method, we initialize the size config and we return an inkwell so that we can have the on tap method here. Okay. And also we can use just a detector, but an inkwell gives us a good visual feedback. So I prefer to use an inkwell here. The child is the container, and the container, everything is centered. Okay. It has that size. It has a width of screen width. Okay. And it has a color of main color and a border radius of 20. And in the child of that container, we are going to render it conditionally. So if this button has been clicked and it is loading, we are going to display a circular progress indicator, or else we are going to show the text that is going to be passed. So, and since this button is going to be used in multiple places, That is why I decided to create it like this. So let me go back to the sign in screen, and now here we are going to create that common button here. So here we are going to create the common button like that. So here for its loading, for now I'm just gonna place false. For the title, I'm just going to give it sign in. And for the on top, I'm just going to have an empty method here like that. So if I save that, as you can see, now we have that button here. Nice. So the next thing that I'm going to do is that I'm going to add yet another sized box here for some space. And I'm now going to create a text that tells us to either register as a user or as a doctor. And I'm just going to do that just quickly. Here we have that. So again, this is a design that I created earlier. So this is the text okay, which is of color black. And below it, we have another sized box here. And what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to create yet another common container that I'm going to use here at the bottom. So for that, I'm going to go to common widgets, and I'm going to create a new file, which I'm going to call common container. And this is going to be a stateless widget. So we have a common container like that, which is going to take a void callback on top and also a string text. So on top is going to be a method that is going to be triggered when we tap on that. And then the text is going to be the text that is going to be displayed on that container. So I'm going to go back to the sign-in screen. I'm going to now call the common button the common container. So the text is going to say register as a user like that. I'm going to have a sized box here, and I'm going to give it a height of 10, and yet another common container, and this one is going to be say register as a doctor like that. So if I save that, we have those two containers appear at the bottom. So for the first one, I want us to direct the user to use a register like that. Okay, so I'm gonna import that and import the app routes. And the second one, I want to direct the user to the doctor register like that. So of course, we don't have this doctor register and user register screen just yet, and that is what we are gonna do right now. I want us to add yet another sized box to give it a space here at the bottom. As you can see now, we have that nice space here at the bottom. So once I click on this register as a user, of course we should get an error because we do not have that screen yet. And that is what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna go to screens, and I'm gonna create a new file, which I'm gonna call user register. And this user register is going to be a consumer stateful widget, which I'm gonna call user register like that. So let me import Flutter Riverpod. So this is the image for registering as a user. So of course we are going to have this design, and then we are going to have this input name, the phone number, location, email, and password. So let us do that. So let me try to click on the register here so that we can see what we are doing. Okay, let me open here. So, okay. So let me go to routes, and I'm going to add the user register. So I'm going to copy this route here. I'm gonna paste it. So it's user register. Change that to user register, and this to user register, and this I'm gonna change this to user register like that. So if I save that, and if I click on here again, Okay, let me restart the app since we have made these changes. Let me restart it once again. So let me try to click on user register as a user. As you can see, we are directed to the user register here. I've created just a detector here so that we can have that on top method here, which I'm going to create. And a child is a circle avatar. It's going to have an image, the placeholder image that we added here at the beginning, the placeholder image that we're going to use here. But that image is going to be updated with what the user is going to select. Okay, so just to solve this error, I'm going to go at the top here and I'm going to create that method. So here, as you can see, we create this method take picture, and it is going to use an image picker. So what we are going to do is that we are going to go to pivspec.yaml file, and then we are going to add the image picker dependency. So here you can just add the image picker dependency and run pub-get, and that will add the image picker. Let me go back to user register. Now here I can hover on it, and I'm going to import the image picker. So I can import the image picker like that. And here we have set the source to gallery. Okay, so you can also set this to camera if you want. So image source dot camera if you want to use a camera. Okay, and what's going to happen here is that here, as you can remember, we have this file which is nullable. It can be null because at the beginning we are not going to have any image, and now we are going to update this. Okay, by saying that if we open the camera and if we take an image, we now update our selected image to be now the picked image or file, and we have to convert it back to type of file by saying file picked image dot path, like that. So I'm gonna add that. So one for email and one for password. Let me save that. And we're also gonna need now a common button. And this common button, let me import this, is going to now say register me. Okay, like that. As you can see, it appears at the bottom here. And we are also going to add another text. It says or. Okay, let me save that, because remember, you want to create this design here. And now we are gonna need a common container here. So common container, like that. So the text here is going to say sign into my account, and on top here I want us to now use GoRouter to take the user back to the sign-in screen. So context.go named, so approutes.signin.name, like that. And of course I'm gonna import the approutes like that. So as you can see at the bottom now here, we have that sign into my account button here. So, and if I try to click on it, as you can see, it directs me back to the sign-in screen. And before we work on the location, I want us to go to design one for doctor as well. So let me go again to this folder here, screens, and I'm gonna create yet another file. And this is going to be for doctor registration. So I'm going to call it doctor register, like that. So let me go to routes. Let me go to routes, and I need to register the doctor register screen. Again, I'm going to go to doctor register like this. I'm gonna go here and paste that, and here I want to return the doctor register like that. So if I save everything and if I restart the app, since we have edited this file, I want to click on register as doctor. So let me go back to doctor register. Okay. So again, for the body, we are going to have a padding. So again, the single child scroll view is going to have a container. So for here, so this is the drop down button form field. Okay, it is of course generic to the of type string here. And again, here we have the decoration. So it's going to say select specialization. And then we are going to, the labels, we are going to give them that style. Okay. The value is going to be selected specialization. Items is going to be from a list of specializations. Okay. So, and to do that, I'm going to create a nullable string that we are going to update here. So I'm going to scroll at the top here, and I'm going to have a string selected specialization, which is nullable. And that is what we are going to update here once the user has selected. Okay, nice. Something else that I need to do is to provide a list of specialization, and this list we are going to use it somewhere else in the application, and therefore it's better to place it somewhere, and then we can provide it with the Riverpod so that we can be able to access this list even in other places of the application. I'm going to go to utils, and I'm going to create a new file here, which I'm going to call specialization list. So here now I'm going to define the list of all the different specializations. So it's a list of type string, and I'm going to call it specialization. Okay, so it's a list of specialization. So it's a private list. So here I'm going to keep these things simple, as I said in the introduction video. But now I want to provide this list to other areas of the application, and I'm going to use the provider. So this is the simplest type of provider that you can have in Riverpod. So specialization provider. So this is a provider. I'm going to import Riverpod, and this is going to be to return a list of type string, because we want to return this list that I've created here called specialization. And here, of course, we are now going to return the list itself, that is the specialization. Nice. So now I can go back to doctor register, and in the build method here, I can now get my list. So final list of specializations equals to ref.watch specialization provider, and I can now import that. Now here, if I hover on this, as you can see, it's a list of type string. Now, if I scroll down here, as you can see, now our error has disappeared. So the items is from the list of specialization. Okay. So if I save on that, as you can see, now we have this. If I tap on here, as you can see, we have the different specialization. I can click on ears, for example, and it's going to update that automatically, because the value here is updated. Also, we have the set state here. Actually, this set state here is the one that is responsible for updating the UI here. So if I click on it, the TV is updated, because it updates the selected specialization with the new value, the one that we select. Cool. We have a common button here for that says register me. If I save on that, as you can see, the button appears here at the bottom. And also now we need the common container to take the user back to the sign-in screen if they already have an account. So first of all is the text that says or. Okay, this is the text. Okay, we have that text up here at the bottom here. Maybe I can add some space here at the bottom. So after this text, I can add some space. So I can say common container is going to say sign in to my account like that. Okay, so app routes sign in dot name like that. If I save that, as you can see now here, it hot reloads and we have that at the bottom. So let's work on now fetching the user location. And let me go to user register. So to fetch a location, first of all, we need to get the places API, okay, that you are going to use. So you are going to go to Google Cloud, the Google Cloud Console, the Google Cloud Platform, okay. And in here, in the Google Cloud Platforms, what you need to do first is to navigate to here, and then you can go to API and services. Here you need to select a project. So if you have a Firebase project, you are going to be able to select it here, okay. So I think what we need to do is that I think we can just connect this application to Firebase first, so that when we come to this place, we are going to select that project, because it is going to fetch projects from your Firebase here. So let me connect this up to Firebase. So you just going to go to firebase.google.com and you can go to console. Of course, you need a Google account to be able to do this. And here you are going to click on create a new project and you are going to name your project here. And click on continue. Here you can go with the default account for Firebase and click on create a project. So with that, I'm going to click continue. And now this is the Dr. Finder app here. So with that, you can just go back to Android Studio. If I go to terminal here, so you type Flutter Fire configure here. And with this, it's going to go to Firebase and it's going to fetch the project that you have. So here it's going to select, you can use the arrow key to select the project that you want. So I'm going to select the Dr. Finder app that I have just created and click enter. And I'm just creating for Android. Okay, and with that, our application has been connected successfully to Firebase. Okay, so as you can see here, we have the Firebase options has been imported successfully, but we need to add some few packages to eliminate this error. As you can see here, it requires Firebase core. So I'm just going to open pubspec.yaml file. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add all the packages that we are going to need to work with Firebase, so that we don't need to add them again in future. So I've added Firebase Auth, okay, Firebase Storage, Firebase Core, and Cloud Firestore. So these are the Firebase packages that we are going to use in this project. And I just want to add them all, and I'm click on pub.get to get those dependencies. So if I go to Firebase options, as you can see, now it has been able to get that. Okay. So I'm going to go to main.dat file now, and I'm going to await Firebase.initialize app. So options, default Firebase options dot current platform, like that. And then we can say widgets Flutter binding dot ensure initialized. So with that, we have successfully connected our application to Firebase. If I refresh this page, as you can see now, we have one app here, okay? So if we had multiple apps, they would appear here at the bottom. I want us now to go to Google Cloud Console once again. You are going to, first of all, you are going to need to select a project. So here at the top, you are going to see this, and you are going to go to all projects, okay? So this is loading the projects from Firestore. So I'm just going to select my project here, and that should be selected at the top here, okay? So here at the APIs and services, you can click on this enable APIs and services, and this will direct you to at this page here, okay? And of course, there you're going to need to select a billing system. If we go to Firebase, let me first of all start with authentication, because you're going to use authentication anyways. So I'm going to click on get started here. And here I'm going to enable email and password. And then I'm going to go to Firestore database. And here I'm going to click on create database. Here, of course, you can select the one that is closest to you. I'm gonna just go with that in the United States. And I'm going to click on next here. And for the rules, for this, just going to go with start with the test mode, and I'm gonna click on create. And with that, I'm gonna go to rules, and here for now, I'm just gonna set this to true, and I'm gonna publish that. So the next thing is the cloud Firestore or of Firebase storage. Sorry. So for Firebase storage, to use storage is now gonna require you to upgrade, and to upgrade this, you are going to require some Google payment account. So if you don't have one, you are just going to create a billing account that is gonna ask for your credit card details. But for me, I'm just going to click on Firebase payment because I had already created an account earlier. So, and I'm just gonna click continue here, and I'm going to link this to my billing account. My account has reached the maximum linked project quota. So what I'm gonna do is that since I already have the other project, I'm gonna reconnect my app to the other project. All right, so let me just reconnect my app to the already existing project. And sorry for that. I thought it's gonna allow me to connect yet another app, but let me just connect to the one that I have already. So I'm just gonna delete this. And now my app has been connected once again. I have another firebase.json file here. I also have Firebase options here, and I also have Google services.json file added here. Now I can go back to the cloud console. This project has already been, I've deleted this project, so I'm going to change back to the project that I have in Firebase. So these are the ones that you are going to need to enable. Okay, for Places API, if you go to keys here, so if you don't have a key, you are gonna be required to create a new key. Okay, and it's gonna give you a key. So here I have this key here. Okay, I created it a long time ago here, but here in the restrictions, if I go to API key here, so here there's application restrictions and there are API restrictions. Okay, so these keys I have restricted all the other APIs here, but of course you can restrict it if you want. Okay, so I'm gonna need to go to utils, and I'm going to create a new file which I'm gonna call keys to create a class here. So static const app key. And so now this key, you are going to paste the key that you are going to get once you have done whatever that you need to do. So for me, it's this key. I'm just going to copy it and I'm going to save it there. So again, you copy that key and you are going to paste it here. So you paste it inside here. So now I want us to go to the user register, and I want us now to get the location. And to do that, let me go to register as user here. And to be able to get this widget here, we are going to use a package called Google Places Flutter. So I'm going to go to pubspec.yaml file, and I'm going to add the Google Places Flutter package, and I'm going to click on pub-get. So if I go back to user register, so after the phone number, from the documentation, there's a piece of code there. I'm just going to copy and paste it here. If you just want to type it, you can just pause and type it if you want. So the Google Place autocomplete text field, this we get from the package that you have just installed, the Google Places Flutter, like that. And here, the API key is the app keys, the class app keys dot the API key. Ensure that you have your API key there. But here, of course, I'm also going to import this. Okay, the prediction. Since we are going to save the latitude and longitude of the user so that we can use that to calculate the distance between this user and the doctors in the application, I want us to go and at the top here, and we are going to create these variables here. So I'm going to go at the top here and I'm going to create the variable longitude and latitude. We create double latitude and double longitude, and we are going to update these values here at the bottom. And then we are going to be able to save that value to Firebase so that we can know the longitude of the user and the latitude of the user after they have searched a place here. Okay, so one thing that I need to do, we are going to need to add one more package And therefore, we are just going to go to the pubspec.yaml file, and we are gonna install a package called Google Maps Web Service. So this is the package that I want us to install. The Google Maps Web Service is going to help us be able to get the latitude and longitude. So I'm going to place pub-get, and with that we have added the Google Maps Web Service here. Okay. So if I go back to the user register, now I want to import that package. So import, we can use as, and I'm going to name it Google Maps Web Service, GMWS, like that. I'm going now to create the places variable here. As you can see here, we have an error. So I'm gonna create now that variable here. So final places. So is equals to, so we are going to use our package. So GMWS dot Google Maps places. And then here we are going to pass the API key, and we already have that. So it's the app keys dot app key. Let me just go and rename this to API key. Okay, I'm gonna rename it. So once I've renamed it, so I can just say API key here, like that. And with that, now I can come here. So going to be app keys dot API key, like that. And so with that, as you can see, when I save it, we now have, we can now enter a location here. And by the way, if you try to run the application, since we are using Firebase, you might get this error. Okay, so what you need to do is that you need to go to the app level bit.gradle file. So you can just go to here to Android app, go to build.gradle.kts, and then here minimum SDK, you can just type 23 here. And with that, if you try to run the application again, it will not give you that error. So let us go to doctor registration, the doctor register, and we're just going to do the same thing that I have just done here. I'm going to import the Google Maps Web Service package. Okay, just above the email, I want to paste the widget. This is the widget, the Google Place autocomplete text field widget. I want to paste it there. And of course, I'm going to import the Google Places Flutter package. I'm also going to import this class that has our API key, like that. And I'm also going to import this once again. So so if I save that, as you can see now, this part to enter location, it's enabled. Now I want us to work on how we can now register a user as either a doctor or just a normal user. Okay, and for that I want us to, first of all, let me just close these files for now. Let me just close all these files. We are gonna open them when we need them again.